Hello and welcome to Feed the Beast. This is episode 2, so get your pens ready, guys. We're going to do some writing.
How do you fill in this blank page? Join your hosts, Ted and John, in the quest to create conflicts, characters, storylines, all that is needed to feed the beast.
Welcome, everybody. How you doing? I am Ted Davies. I'm best known for my book Retrieve and my book series Grimm 101. How about you, John?
Well, I'm John Celestri. I'm best known for animating Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special and a whole bunch of other things. But I've at present time I'm working on Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, and that's what we're showing right now to feed the beast.
Yes. So, what are we going to be talking about today? People can go back at our last show and see what we were talking about to get us to this point. But
Right. Well, we're talking about the primary way I start working, which is getting ideas together and getting the elements as a recipe, as a formula, and elements together in my story. And we're going through the pieces. And last week, you could check that out. You'll see how I would do the initial bits, and I could put the that one page up just so you know where it is, and then
Sure.
we'll go to there.
Sure. Did you want me to go ahead and bring that up right
Yes,
now?
bring that,
Okay,
please.
very good.
Okay, here you are. And as we can see, you can see here the various elements here. These are our 8 Post-it notes with various bits of ideas, and that's what they are, ideas. And I start molding it now. We'll start using these pieces as part of the pages. This is for a 7-page standalone story, and it's for the 1717 Club.
Correct.
Which is so. I was using that as it's sort of a backup story in Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, book 2.
Right.
So,
and it's a good format. We're also going to have this in the description so you can download, you can purchase a download of the ash can so you guys can follow along as well. So
we're going to go to the first thing. The first element here is I start, choosing some of the elements from those Post-it notes, and the elements here is for example, it's the actual title, the 1717 Club, the elements of and this is my handwriting, so what I did some markups in red here, so you can follow along when you look at it, but at one point it was the idea of good to the last drop. And just to give an idea, basically, is the 1717 Club is sort of the tone is from Dusk Till Dawn, the movie Dusk Till Dawn meets The Sopranos, which is
it's a great mix. It's a great mix.
So you want to have some visuals here. So anyway, the midnight special, free drink at midnight. Kill an hour, watch a free show, no cover charge. Some of that I have in this in the first page I'll be using, and some I'll use later on. So there's that one. Now we go to the next page, is the next Post-it note element, which is and this is my bad handwriting. So Snake Eyes has just finished closing a barrel and has 2 guys dolly it to the cellar. Says, let that blankety blank age a week or two, gives a subtle tang and gives a chef's hair kiss. And you can see here that this element here of, let's see if I can bring that up.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, you can see that, right? See that there.
And
it's my little shit. Yeah.
It's important to people to know too that when you're writing these small notes and that, they're to yourself. This isn't necessarily to be broadcasted like we're doing here. We're doing this to show you that this is a definite, easy shorthand way to get that idea down and get it into process.
Yes, and that's the important thing that people have to understand. It this is a process. This is an element where things are not just it's not a straight line.
Hmm.
And writing all this is really a very it's a personal way that I work, and then others others will work a different way. These post-it notes are personal to me, and just gives you an idea how what you could do for yourself. And the element here is you take bits and pieces, and then you start um, um, molding them together.
Got it.
So showed you these first two post-it notes. Now here's where we go to the actual uh, drawing and development of
Yep.
this. And
That's,
let's
that's
see.
actually a really good sketch.
Oh well, thank you.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, this was again. This is my. If you'll note, this here is the actual size. I do it.
Hmm.
The thumbnail. My thumbnails at this point are at final print size. So it's
Okay.
comic book size at 8.5 by 11. And so I'm really just doodling away. Let me get a little bit closer up here. This is the element that I'm using. I'm using the chef's air kiss
Okay.
here, as you can see here. And then up here, we'll start focusing on certain elements of the we've got the 1717 club here, and then there's a drop, that's dripping off of the bee. This
Got it.
is here's a tongue here. This is
Hmm.
a demon face here. There's a sort of wings that I'm playing with here, bat wings. And here it says Midnight Special, and
Got
that's
it.
the title.
Mm.
That's the title of the story. What we have is basically a they're in a brick building. It's a nightclub. So you've got your awning here, and then you've got the 1717, which is the address of the club. That's why it's called the 1717 Club.
Got it.
Now, and then so you have your awning. You've got your 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 entrance way here. Um, Now, to give you an idea um, how I'm using my references and my materials, this is all based on memories of a mobster club that was in my neighborhood in Brooklyn growing up in the 1950s and 60s. And so there's a lot of that comes from my memories of the characters that were in it.
Sure.
There wasn't they weren't they weren't vampires, but they were members of the mob.
Yeah. Well, you use what is around you. I mean, yeah, those are great in some respects, it's great memories.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic.
So let's we'll move this up a bit here. Um, Now, this part here is I'm using this here. Snake Eyes is just finished closing the barrel and has two guys dolly it to the cellar. Well, that's not what happens. This here again. This is a very uh, thumbnaily rough thing,
Hmm.
but this is a barrel, and it has its on dolly wheels. You can kind of see where they're what is it? What's the term there? Um, oh, yeah, it's kind of like when you're moving things around. What's the name of that? The implement. It is dollying, but it's just kind of just pulling it back like a wheelbarrow almost.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is a sticker here. It says A or B in my note. I'm saying a mess, and so I'm going to use that later on because I'm thinking about it. You know, this here is just basically he's tamping there's this element here of the guy is going to be tamping down the lid of on this barrel, and there's a guy here who's going to be taking it and then moving it out. You'll see this is my panel here. Can you see that notation
Yeah.
here?
Yep.
And then here is the barrel is being wheeled back, wheeled away, and then there's the character is that's where this gentleman is going to be doing the subtle chef's kiss. What I did, okay, so again, this is very
Mhm.
rough, but these are notes to myself. Same thing here. And here's an important thing is how do you transition from the exterior to the interior?
Mm. Mhm.
And I do
Very,
that with
very important. Yeah.
yeah, and I do that by using the word balloon. And this case is I have the tail of the word balloon coming out of the entranceway, outside, so that it's like you were hearing it from the outside. And then the other tail to that word balloon is into this panel, the first panel here. So there's a direct correlation between the two. So we've got that tap that lid good and tight, and then you go back to let it age, for a week or whatever it is. Let that age. Okay, yeah, tap that lid good and tight, uh, um, and then here, uh, aging gives it a subtle tang. Oh yeah, it's something like let that guy age a week or two, and that's you kind of break up you break up the dialogue so that it
Mhm.
makes it literal. And here's the thing about dialogue: don't you don't have to describe everything,
Yeah.
and because that's visual.
Well, and this
Yeah,
is the medium that we're in. I mean, visual,
yeah,
the subtleties are the key. I
yeah,
mean, and what you're doing there, you're marrying both the visual and the audible, if you want to call it that,
yeah,
into where it's a marriage. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And the key to the comic book or any kind of writing at all is show dot not tell. So the visuals are you're showing, not telling. You're not saying inside here where so and so, when we don't have to
Right.
have a voiceover saying anything to set up. You've got the setup. You're hearing the dialogue. Oh, now we're inside, and and keep dialogue subtle, rather really short, in a way that is that people speak. You don't have to say everything.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be Shakespearean throughout
No,
the whole. Yeah.
no, you don't have to at all. So let's. So now that we're in that page, we're going to finish this page off and go to page 2. This was the first page. So here we are. In this case, we're going to cut to a bartender. We're going to have a bartender has small horns on his head. He has a skin condition, maybe, or really a demon in disguise. Is checking barrels behind the bar, saying, "We can do with another." Now, there's dialogue right there. Like, what is going on?
Right.
You know,
Very
uh,
subtle innuendo and macabre. I mean, it's
yes,
very, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's the element that we're trying to do. So that's a post-it note. That's what we had here. Um, so we go to the next post-it note is the okay. Now I don't use unsuspecting customer, into the club. It doesn't. We don't use that. I've created extra stuff here, but we have this element of hooker entices unsuspecting cover in there and plays
Mhm.
cards. Bloody Mary drinks served during game. This is something that I posted for this. But the next post-it note, let's see, wait a minute. Let me get to this. So we have this one here. Now, the next post is Snake Eyes responds, cherries already outside, cut the cherry, enticing victim walking by. Okay, these are all the elements that I have that I want to use in this page, but you'll see that I don't use them all. It's set. I'm understanding what I'm going to say. This here is a very much of a. There's a lot of material going on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know, um,
Do you as you go, do you make that decision, or is it something that's made that you make early on? Do you use all the information, or do you do it as you
as I go along, I look and say, okay, does this work for me? What is happening here? And
Mhm.
I say, okay, um, I don't like to stretch things out. And here we'll talk. Here's something that we could talk about in terms of compressed storytelling or
Mhm.
decompressed storytelling.
Mm.
And to me, there are places where you have to stretch it, not stretch it, but rather develop it, let it breathe, let the interaction work. But you don't have to make it so like you're doing every half second and like you're animating
Yeah.
something
Yes.
and just fill up the page. That's not good.
Mm-mm.
But in this case here, I've also, you'll note here, let's see, is an additional post-it note um, with I've got Cherry, BB, and Pixie, and these are my notes to myself. But I want to set it up something that's happening here. Cherry, BB, and Pixie are the gals who work at the club. Uh, and this is what we're talking about, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to understand what I'm going to say in these all these notes here.
Sure.
Okay,
Or
uh,
who's saying them? Yeah.
who's saying that, and
Yeah.
what are they? And let me roll this up a little bit here. And this is a fascinating idea: is that a Cherry can sniff out blood type A, BB can sniff out type B, and Pixie can O
Got
sniff
it.
out O. So those are the gals that are going outside to get a victim,
Yeah.
and it's not just oh, we're going to get a mark. It has to be a specific
Right.
victim.
That makes the story even deeper. And
Yeah,
you're not, it's very subtle, but I understand that. Did you come up with that as the story rolled? Or
yeah.
was it something
As
that
we
came
go,
up
no,
at the first as the idea?
no. As I'm developing this, I'm saying, okay, yeah, I've got to do something with this. I know that they're going to be, they have to do that. I had my mind that they would have to sniff out the the victims, but why? And so that's why I had the barrels have blood type A, blood type B,
That's
side
great.
O,
It's
and
brilliant. It's
so
brilliant. Yeah.
you know so now we have a place for interaction, because let me just roll this down here. In this case here, okay, it's for a page, and I've got panels. I've got one, two, three, eventually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels in this page. Okay, and the first one is going to be the guy, the bartender. The bartender is what has horns on his head. You've got here an area where you could see an A. That's a barrel, and he's doing he's got the spigot going on, like
Yep.
like on tap, and
Yep.
he's saying, "Oh, hey, we're running. He goes just next page, next panel. He looks out and he says, "Hey, boss, we're running low on barrel A. the area for a real large-headed, close up of the boss. That's Snake
Mhm.
Eyes. So I'm looking just for shapes, within the page, and to say, okay, how is this shape different? Well, I've just suddenly pulled back. If you look at in terms of going from here to there,
Mhm.
am I close enough here that no, I can't. Let me just
There you go.
okay. I'm sorry. Now that
No,
you could
no
see
worries.
here,
Yeah.
now you could see how that works here. We're going from here to here, and we're pulling back the camera, and we're seeing this, really the headshot
Mhm.
of Snake Eyes, seeing the far shot of the bartender looking at him. Is that apparent?
Yes. Yep. I can see that. Yep.
Okay. And again, I want people to understand how specific we
Mhm.
are. We are really making it work. And we've got this. Okay.
Well, the world building too, these are cues. What you're doing here is you're cueing yourself to remember and to develop the story that you're doing as you're going.
Mhm.
It's a very important that people don't realize or that they don't think, oh, that people are going to see this. Not necessarily. People aren't going to see this. It's a different format for us because we're trying to teach something. But for you as the creator, you need to get something that's going to work for you. But this could be a very duplicatable effort. For I can see a lot of artists and a lot of writers doing this. I can see
Right.
myself doing. I do something very similar to this as well. So.
No, okay. Well, the important thing is, as we are moving things together and we're building on this, we're creating tone.
Mm,
None of this I mean, I may have an idea or a feeling,
hmm
but you need to be able to let it percolate as you're doing it. I mean, what we're doing is the equivalent of getting all the ingredients for a very elaborate but very specific type of meal,
hmm
and we're starting to start saying, okay, I got to put this together. I need this here. This will works with that element here, and you start chopping it. You
hmm
haven't done anything together. You're not presenting yet.
Yeah, you're still prepping.
You're
Yeah.
still yeah, and that's
Yep.
exactly right. We're
Yep.
prepping.
Yep.
So we're going to here. Now that we've got, we know Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is now turning and looking at a hooker. This is the place here. Looking, we've gone from here. Can I? Is this working?
Yep.
To there. That's Snake Eyes. He looks over his shoulder, and here is where Cherry is walking in. He says, "Okay, Cherry, go sniff out one." Okay, and she says, "Okay, Snake Eyes." There's a second gal coming in saying, "Hey, give me a shot."
hmm
Okay, we're now having interaction and say, "Well, what's going on here?" And so Cherry says to Pixie, "Oh," and just really just kisses her on the nose or whatnot, and says,
hmm
"Oh, it's Pixie, you're cute. Yeah, so your cute little nose can only distinguish one vintage."
Yes. One vintage.
And so here we are talking about tone.
hmm
How these gals, they have their talent, but one is not quite as good as the other one. So
hmm
we have some kind of interaction, and it's not just about I'm going to tell you what you are. They are playing against each other. They've got a whole history,
hmm
and I'm trying to do that with dialogue and without it being pedantic.
Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. It's not. Let's though go to the next one here.
hmm
And what I do here is we go from that panel down, down to here, and basically this one here, Cherry kisses Pixie on the nose.
Okay.
That's where we have that. Then Pixie is kind of like, she's got, she's got, little hearts coming up there. Who knows what their relationship is? It could be romantic, but it's
Yep.
idea. It's not just, it's not like, oh, what are you doing? No, it's just, oh, that was cute. So anyway, Freckles is a card shop. So I've got Pixie out there, reacting. We've
Hmm.
got we've got a card sharp, saying, Freckles saying, "Get us a fat one," and this here is Cherry, and she's got a sign that she's going to carry, and she says something like, she carries the sign, and at this point, I didn't put in the sign, the dialogue, but she says something to the effect of, it says, "Don't I always?"
Got it.
So now you've got this beginning. Okay, so already we have all of this element going on, and we're going to say, okay, she's going outside, she's getting ready, she's got the sign, and what's the next thing that's going to happen? And can we turn the page?
Is this and that i- the thing I like about it, it's in tight. The story itself, though, I can already picture, and I'm sure you do. I can already picture the full, almost the smell of the inside of the bar. That's what you've developed here, on one page. Simple, three post-it notes. That's it.
Yeah, the three post-it notes, and I haven't used all the material
Right,
yet. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
and yeah, it's fantastic,
yeah.
fantastic.
Um, and something of this sort is like, with this page, for this page, I use the ideas from, post-it notes number 3 and 4. You can go back and look at them
Hmm.
as jumping off points.
Yes,
I let my imagination run with those beats. So, and
got it.
that was that point where while I was doing that and playing around with this material, I then created an additional idea, putting the names of separate hookers, and that's Cherry, BB, and Pixie.
Hmm.
So playing around is, molding. I mean, I'm not trying to be exact, because I could go back and just change it,
Yeah.
and allow it to breathe.
Yeah, you don't want to be too rigid in this type of level where you're at right now,
Right.
because the plasticity, that's the whole idea. It's malleable. Even the beginning is malleable at
Yeah.
this point. So,
Yeah, everything. That's where we are. So I'm kind of thinking, if where we are time wise,
mhm.
do we have, are we close to the end, or do you want me to try a third page?
I think that this is good. It's a good set for right now because we're about the 30-minute mark, and I
Okay,
think that
okay,
that's a lot to digest for a lot of
yeah,
the writers right now.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the thing about it, is that I mean, we don't want you to take bite off more than you can chew. I mean, this is a
correct.
lot of information to think about.
Sure. And it's something that you can handle it within a week. So when
Yeah.
you can be ready for the next
Hmm.
um, presentation that we offer on our episode 3.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It gets you to the point where you're up to speed, and then you can rewatch the last ones that we just did. There's a
Hmm.
lot of different things you can do with this.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, I think it's a great format and a
Yeah.
great beginning, to get your stories out there. Man, what
Yeah.
an opportunity we
Yeah.
all have. I appreciate you, John, so much, man. You're awesome. This is
Hey,
it's been very good learning from you today. Um, and I think on the episode 3, I think it's going to definitely be, now, is that going to be the third page to this series, or how
I'm
is
so,
this
say again. I'm
is
sorry.
that going to be the third page to this next
The
one, next
next one will be
episode?
the third page. Will be the third page, and
Good.
whatever else that we have, what we can get to.
And
And,
then we can bring in the big guns, so to speak. But I think that this is a great format, especially with the simple idea of
Mhm.
just getting that shorthand idea down
Yeah.
and start developing that story. I hope that you guys are finding definite. I think there's some great tools in this, and I hope you guys can make comments.
Mhm.
Let us know. Let us know what you're writing. Maybe there's
Mhm.
something we can implement this a little bit more personally with you.
Yeah, and
And
and we can answer any kind of questions if you want to leave on comments. That would be
Absolutely.
great, and that way we will have some sort of interaction. You know,
Accordingly.
yeah.
And yeah, there's anything else you guys want to add to or any suggestions on that as well, let us know. And I appreciate your time, John. Thank you. This has been a lot of fun.
Yep.
We got to write, don't we?
Oh yeah, we've got there is a lot to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned. We'll be in touch with you next week, guys, for episode 3 of Feed the Beast. Have a good weekend.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
How do you fill in this blank page? Join your hosts, Ted and John, in the quest to create conflicts, characters, storylines, all that is needed to feed the beast.